or turn some things off. I forget what all was required for that.
Okay. The most recent zero day I heard about was SonicWall, but I don't think that's what
Yeah,
you're talking
Sonic Wall. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I read about
That's
that today
mobile.
too. Yeah.
about. And so earlier versions didn't have this vulnerability. It got introduced with an
Right.
update. Gotcha. That does happen. No question about it.
Joe, is this a Security Plus exam?
This is a Security Plus exam, yes.
Ah, okay. No wonder I'm like, I have no idea what all this. All right, in that case, I'm gonna jump off then.
Okay, man.
I'll see you guys later.
Okay, have a good night. Yep.
You too.
All right. Okay. Compensating would be correct. Which of the following ports should you block at the firewall if you want to prevent a remote login to a server from occurring?
22.
Right. Okay, which of the following cryptographic algorithms is classified as a stream cipher?
RC4.
Mm-hmm. Frank and John have started a secret club. They want to ensure that when they send messages to each other, they are truly unbreakable. What encryption key would provide the strongest and most secure encryption?
AES.
I don't know the answer here, but I've always heard that a one-time pad is unbreakable. But of the other three, AES would probably be the strongest there, yeah. You want me to go AES? What do
Quick.
What is that pad about? Just is that like an initialization vector or something?
I should understand the one-time pad better than I actually do, but I don't. So I just know I've heard that. I'm going to look it up right quick. Let's just do it right here and see. But I definitely have heard you cannot crack a one-time pad. Yeah. That's what I've been taught. I think it's really just essentially symmetric encryption where both sides have the key to begin with, but I don't know exactly.
I mean, that looks pretty good. I mean, I guess we can go with the one time.
That's probably the answer. Let's just learn what a one-time pad is. How about? Cannot be cracked. A one-time pre-share key. Yeah, so yeah. You could hand each other the key on a little piece of note paper and that would be a one-time pad.
Yeah, like the Enigma machine.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. A way to get yeah. Yep. That is a good example actually. Yep. Cannot be cracked. Of course the Enigma was cracked, but that's a whole other story. So I think our answer here would be one-time pad then, huh? Probably the strong, most secure.
Let's start it.
Let's do. I mean, that would be. It doesn't say uncrackable actually. What would give you the strongest and most secure encryption? So, let's do your AES answer. Hell with it. You're creating a script to filter some logs so that you can detect any suspected malware beaconing. Which of the following is not a typical means of identifying a malware beacon's behavior on the network? This sounds like 601 material because we never learned anything about beaconing.
This one be the removal of known traffic,
I'll go
which
for
is
that.
not. 'Cause the other ones seem like it would be beaconing behavior.
Right. Not a typical means of doing that. I bet you're right.
Yeah, I think the other ones are probably normal behaviors.
Right. Which of the following hashing algorithms results in a 160-bit fixed output? Error. I never know these. But that seems like that might be MD5. So we'll just star that son of a gun and move on. Every new employee at Dion must sign a document to show. By the way, they're not going to do that kind of stuff on 601. They've decided that's silly to be asking for stuff like that. Every new employee at Dion Training must sign a document to show they understand the proper rules for using the company's computers. What kind of document is that?
Acceptable use policy.
Yes, sir. Mike, good to hear your voice. You suspect that your server has been the victim of a web-based attack. Which of the following ports would be most likely be seen in the logs to indicate the attack's target?
443.
Well, which one's the weakest?
21.
Known weakest.
But it's web-based.
Oh, oh
You're right.
yeah, good point. Okay, I'll go for 443 then. Which of the following security policies could help detect fraudulent cases that occur even when other security controls are already in place?
Mandatory vacation.
Detect fraudulent, yes. Excellent. Was that? Hang on a second, apologize everyone. Jam, you're here. Good. Mario, oh no.
Yeah.
Mario's having trouble. We got a new person. I'm just trying to text him right quick. I know what he needs to do. He needs to click into the general voice room. There we go. All right. Fail to pass systems has just become the latest victim in a large-scale data breach by an APT. Your initial investigation confirms a massive exfiltration of customer data. Which of the following actions do you recommend to the CEO of Fail to Pass in handling this data breach?
Yeah, the first one's a really bad idea. The third one is insurance fraud. It's got to be either the second one or the fourth one, and I think it's probably the second one.
Yeah, you don't want to hack back at the attacker.
Yeah, I don't think that would. Yeah.
That's, sounds like a bad
If it's an APT, you're not going to be able to do that anyway.
I'm going to text this person that's having trouble one more time. In fact, I'm going to look up his phone number and give him a call real quick. Because I bet you that's all he needs to do is click into this. Apologize, everyone.
I read an interview today with a Russian cyber criminal. And he said that he likes to go after targets that already have cyber insurance because he knows his probability of getting paid is going to be 100%.
Oh, wow. What a great idea.
How resourceful.
Yeah. You'd have to do some reconnaissance to figure out who those people were, I suppose. Hey, Mario.
Yeah, he said that's really tough.
Hey, man. So...
The reconnaissance part?
Darn it.
Yeah, finding a victim
Well,
that has a cyber insurance policy
yep.
that you know has a
Yeah.
cyber insurance policy. It's not normally something people
Listen to
advertise.
us
So
and
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
questions for
exactly.
yourself
You know,
and
now,
then see what we end up
odd
doing.
enough, the types of people to
I see
have
where I don't see any
cybersecurity
reason
insurance
why
policies,
from
they
our end.
are probably pretty savvy, and they're tougher to get
Okay,
raw
I'm gonna tell you
information and
something.
data from than just the
My
average
Discord,
individual. You know, probably a
screen
bit more
over where you
aware,
can see it, okay?
appropriate
Attack-
things set in
You see
place
my
to.
Discord screen?
Attack the insurance companies to find out
Yeah.
that data.
Hey, yeah, see, yeah, now we're thinking big. Now we're thinking big time. You know, not just your average Russian we're talking now.
And I'm gonna, if you'll mess around with that for a few minutes, I'm gonna get back to what we're doing, but I'll check back in on you, okay? Sure. Thanks, Mike. Okay, I think I got him on the right track over there. And the phone rings. Is that Mario? He hung up on me. Good. All right, what do we got here, folks? I didn't read
Probably
this.
a blacklist would be the easiest today, right?
Okay. Let's see. Create a baseline image. Yeah, blacklist would be faster. Yep. All right. We've got to drag these order of evidence.
Joe, I can't hear you. Are you muted?
Yes, I
He
am.
is.
I was. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Jesus. Thanks, guys. Jeez. Okay, so we just need to drag these into an order of evidence collection or vulnerability order.
I can't remember, is it processor or file swap? Processor cache, right? File swap, then
Yep. Processor
RAM.
cache is your most volatile. Yep.
So that'd be
Okay. Your company has just finished replacing all of its computers with brand new workstations. Colleen, one of your coworkers, has asked the company's owner if she can have the old computers. Colleen would like to refurbish them and give them to a local community center. The owner thinks that's a great idea. He's concerned about privacy. You've been asked to choose the best solution to sanitize or destroy the data while ensuring they'll still be usable so they can reuse those hard drives. What type of data destruction or sanitization should you use?
Wipe.
shredding.
Yeah. Good luck putting those back together. Several users have contacted the help desk to report that they received, because degaussing destroys a drive permanently too, by the way. Several
Does
users,
degaussing work for SSDs?
I don't know. Do they work based on a magnetic charge? I suppose they do.
Yeah, but they like burn a layer. Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
All right, Mario got it working. Yay! Several users that have well, Jim, you look that up, would you please? While we're doing this.
I actually did, and it doesn't.
Does not impact.
Yeah, I just found that out too.
Okay. Good to know.
Degaussing SSD drives has absolutely no effect whatsoever.
Good to know.
Well, there
That's
you go.
because it's not magnetic media.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So how do SSDs store? Right? How do they do it if it's not magnetic? Anyone know? I don't know.
Probably about.
Probably what?
Said I was probably wrong about it, but I always thought they were large.
You're getting cut out, so I didn't hear the end of that. But all right, I'll research that. I'll find out. I just assumed they were magnetic. All right. No. Okay. Several users have contacted the help desk to report that they received an email from a well-known bank stating that their accounts have been compromised and they need to click here. Some of these users are not even customers of that bank. Which of the following best describes this attack?
Phishing.
Right. The management at Stevens Work is concerned about rogue devices being attached to the network. Which of the following solutions would quickly provide the most accurate information that Steve could use to identify rogue devices on a wired network?
Port scanner, maybe.
Well, yeah, looking at the other ones. Sure, let's do it. Michelle has just finished installing a new database application on her server. She then proceeds to uninstall the sample configuration files properly configures the application settings, and updates the software to the latest version. What best describes the actions Michelle just took?
Gene?
I would say application hardening.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I skipped one. Which of the following ports should you block at the firewall if you want to prevent a remote login to a server from occurring? This one doesn't say web-based like the other one did. Telnet, right?
Right.
Would be
25th.
a good place to start. You know, I mean, SMTP is a remote login to a server, but oh well. You don't want to block. I mean, you do want to block 25. Most everyone does block 25 these days because it's a spam port. During your annual cybersecurity awareness training in your company, the instructor states that employees should be careful about what information they post on social media. According to the instructor, if you post too much personal information, it is much easier for an attacker to conduct which type of attack to break your passwords.
Cognitive password.
Yep. You are in the recovery steps of an incident response. Your analysis revealed that the attacker exploited an unpatched vulnerability on a public facing web server as the initial intrusion vector in this incident. Which of the following mitigations should be implemented first during recovery? To exploit unpatched vulnerability on a public facing web server. I kind of like that fourth one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let's go with that. A firewall admin has configured a new DMZ to allow public systems to be segmented from the organization's internal network. I'm just going to reread that to myself. Let's configure new lab. Okay, the firewall now has 3 security zones: untrusted, DMZ, and trusted. Firewall admin has been asked to enable remote desktop access from a fixed IP on the remote network to a remote desktop server in the DMZ for the CSO to work from home. CSO's home internet uses that static IP. The remote desktop server is given this public-facing IP. What rules should the administrator add to the firewall? So, source, destination, and we definitely want to permit and is.
The third one's pretty much 1-to-1 because all those are subnet, either subnet to an IP address or, well, you could use a subnet.
Go straight to there. There's his IP. I mean, they're specifying that specific IP, doing that specific IP. No, that's not. Wait, is it? Well, I mean, this one looks like it would work. Isn't that the source, destination, and protocol
They're all,
and port?
yeah,
I think
they're
that one
all
looks
RDP. Yeah.
because this is allowing a bunch of different machines, of course. And that would allow one machine into a variety of other servers. So yeah, I think that one.
And it's saying static, so.
Yep. Which of the following protocols is commonly used to collect information about CPU utilization and memory usage from network devices?
SNMP.
Which of the following password policies defines the number of previous passwords that cannot be reused? So you can't duplicate an old password for a while.
History.
Yeah.
You're conducting an incident response and have traced the attack source to some compromised user credentials. After performing log analysis, you discover that the attack was successfully authenticated from an unauthorized foreign country. Your management is now asking you to implement a solution to help mitigate this type of attack. Which of the following should you implement?
Context based on
Yeah.
location,
Context.
location.
Right. An attacker is searching in Google for Cisco VPN config files by using the file type :PCF modifier. Okay, the attacker could locate several of these configuration files and now wants to decode any connectivity passwords they might contain. What tool should the attacker use? What is a password cracking tool?
Chain enable.
Yeah, there's only one there, so they made that easy. Which of the following biometric authentication factors relies on matching patterns on the eye's surface using near-infrared imaging?
Oh, that's a retinal scan,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I always want to reverse them, but the retina is the outer part. A cybersecurity analyst notices that an attacker is trying to crack the WPS pin associated with the wireless printer. The device logs show that the attacker tried these numbers and continued to increment by 1 until they found the correct pin. Which of the following type of password cracking was being performed?
Rainbow. Would it?
Well,
Would
you're
it be
stepping
rainbow?
through every possible numeric option there.
Brute force.
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone's heard my brute force story from when I was a kid, right?
Like combo
No.
lock? No?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I kind of like to hear it.
All right, we'll do it real quick. I had a paper route. I lost my bike. I don't remember. I think someone stole it. My neighbor had a bike in their garage with a 4-digit lock on it, and I sat there on the ground and tried every number until I figured it out. I stole their bike twice a day for months until I could afford to buy a new bike, because back then you got the paper in the morning and the afternoon. So I'd steal it in the morning, take it back, lock it up, steal it in the afternoon, take it back, lock it up. I'm sure they knew I was doing
At
that.
least you returned it.
Yeah.
That is golden. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I bet they thought it was cute. I was like 12 years old.
Probably impressed. They're like, "What? You figured it out?"
You're notified by an external organization that an IP address associated with their company's email server has been sending spam emails requesting funds as part of a lottery collection scam. An investigation in the incident reveals the email account used was Connor from the sales department, and that Connor's email account was only used from one workstation. You analyze Connor's workstation and discover several unknown processes running, but NetFlow analysis reveals no attempted lateral movement to other workstations. Which containment strategy would be most effective to use in this scenario?
Connor written up. I'm just kidding.
Serious?
Unplug,
No.
and then write them up. Well, unplug would be the first thing you'd want to do for
I
sure.
don't think so. Quarantine, basically. Even though it hasn't made any lateral movements, you don't want to give it another chance to do so. Which of the following secure coding best practices ensures special characters like these are not accepted?
Input validation.
All right. Which of the following does a user or agent request a resource from when conducting a SAML transaction? Gotcha. This sounds like 601 too. We didn't study this in 501. But user agent requests a resource during a SAML transaction.
Service provider?
Sure. That sounds most reasonable. You're in the recovery steps of an incident response. Throughout the incident, your team never successfully determined the root cause of the network compromise. Which of the following options would you least likely perform as part of your recovery and remediation actions? Never determine the root cause. Least likely perform. You're right.
USB.
You know that. I mean, no. If you don't know where it came from, I think you probably would do this.
Yeah, that could be a big cause.
I think that it's this
Sanitize
and reimage. That's the most work.
Yeah, that is.
I'd bring the whole network down.
Yeah, if you could do that, I mean, not every situation can you really do that. You need to determine the best way to test operating system. Does everyone know how to talk like Captain Kirk? You just say one word at a time. That's how you do it. And then you do some real quick ones in there. That's how you talk like Kirk. All right. You need to determine the best way to test operating system patches in a lab environment. I don't know why that came to my mind. Before
Spock. I'm going with sandboxing.
Okay. Sandboxing sounds good. Unfortunately, no several different OSs, but you only have one machine. Sure. Wait. Wouldn't virtualization be better?
I was leaning towards virtualization at the.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I didn't read all the way through.
One machine and several operating systems. You're going to have to do that.
That one machine.
And really, virtualized machines are essentially sandboxed if you don't give them away out to the network. So, be a good way to go. Dave's company utilizes Google's G Suite for file sharing and office productivity, Slack for internal messaging, and AWS for hosting web servers. Which of the following cloud model type of cloud deployment models is being used?
Community.
Sounds like public.
Yeah, that is. There's not such a thing as multi-cloud. So yeah, those are all just public. As far as I can, yeah, just public, and public. Which type of method is used to collect information during the passive reconnaissance?
Passive reconnaissance. That, yeah, publicly available sources.
Yep. Also, used to be called OSINT. It seems like nothing ever calls them that anymore. Open source intelligence. So.
They still call it that.
They do, okay. To improve the Dion training corporate network security, a security admin wants to update the configuration of the wireless network to have IPsec built into the protocol by default. Additionally, the security admin would like for NAT to no longer be required for extending the number of IP addresses. What protocol should the admin implement to achieve these goals?
IPv6.
Yes. I'm reading that, I'm thinking, IPsec built in? What the? And then once I got here, I realized it had to be IPv6. NAT will go away. We'll all have real IP addresses everywhere. Which of the following methods should a cybersecurity analyst use to locate any instances on the network where passwords are being sent in clear text? We'll have private and public IPs in IPv6, though. I mean, at the same time.
I know the mainframe's going to IPv6 in their network stacks. I just had an IBM like break, like a lunch break, and they were talking about IPv6 and how to enable it on your mainframes. So I thought that was an interesting luncheon.
Yeah. So it'd be good to see us all move to it and be done with
They
IPv4.
they even describe the person that was giving the talk said, "Well, what happened to IPv5? Does anybody know?"
No, I don't think anyone
I
does
do
know.
now. I didn't know. I was like, "Well, what? Yeah, what happened to IPv5?"
Talk about it.
Well, from what I know about IPv5 is it's still based on IPv4. It still had the limitations of IPv4, but it had something to do with being able to do real time streaming, which is now found in a lot of your voice communications.
Right.
So that it went into like voice over IP kind of stuff, and was kind of integrated in that. But it was still based on IPv4, and so yeah, they skipped over IPv5 because it still had the limitations of IPv4.
Gotcha. All right. Thanks for that. Yeah, I never even actually wondered about that, but yeah, what happened to it? Yeah. Which of the following methods should a cybersecurity analyst use to locate any instances on the network where passwords are being sent in clear text? They would definitely show up in a full packet capture. I'm just wondering if they think, though, in general, they should end up in a SIM event log. Because that would include firewall logs. But would that, I don't know if the clear text shows up in a firewall log, but it definitely would show up in a packet capture, right?
I vote for a full packet.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning towards before you started talking.
And I almost talked you out of it.
Not quite.
With my uncertainty. You've been hired as a cybersecurity analyst for a privately owned bank. Which of the following regulations would have the greatest impact on your bank's cybersecurity program?
Not HIPAA.
No.
No.
It's either Sarbanes-Oxley or the third one.
Yeah, I don't even know that one. I know.
I think it's SOX.
What?
SOX.
Okay.
I would think. I don't know. I'm not sure what GLBA is.
Yeah, I haven't. I know that is something, and I can't remember what it is, and I've never heard of that one. Let's just look them up real quick. Cheat. What was the other one? FERPA? FERPA?
FERPA.
That's Family Educational Rights Privacy Act.
Okay,
Yep.
it's not that one, man. GLBA?
GLBA is the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act, which is a financial regulation.
That's the one. That's it.
Yeah, that would be the one.
The other one applies to more federal, just federal stuff in general, not financial.
Well, SOX applies to companies reporting their results and disclosing, corporate information and that kind of stuff. So I definitely think it's GLBA.
Okay. That's right. SOX is public companies. Alexa is an analyst for a large bank that has offices in multiple states. She wants to create an alert when an employee from one bank office logs into a workstation at another office in another state. What type of detection and analysis is Alexa configuring?
I'm leaning towards behavior.
Okay. I think so too. Hey, so did y'all see the hot air balloons like a day or two ago?
No, I missed out on that.
Yeah, I saw some. I found out what they were doing and why. They were going up over the top of Pikes Peak to photograph the progress of the building they're doing up there. And the reason they went the other day was because of such low wind. It was actually a really good day to to be able to move westward and then back eastward again.
Oh, they're looking at the cog route?
They might have been doing that too. From what I read, some people explaining though, they went up there to take pictures of the progress up top and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
What process is used to conduct an inventory of critical systems, components, and devices within an organization? Inventory of stuff with value.
Well, that's asset management.
Right. Several users have contacted the help desk to report that they received an email from a well-known bank stating that their accounts have been compromised and they need to click here. Some of the users, we already saw this. Oh, but it's a different question at the end. They're not even customers. Which of the following social engineering principles is being utilized? Account has been compromised. You need to
Urgency.
Yes. Which term is used in software development to refer to the method in which app and platform updates are committed to a production environment rapidly?
Continuous delivery.
I say development.
It's not an option.
I'm thinking
Deployment?
it's one of these.
I know it's
Or deployment, yeah, that's what I was looking at. Sorry.
I'm thinking it's one of those two bottom ones.
CI/CD, but I don't know what those.
I'm gonna go deployment. That sounds more logical. I don't know. During which incident response phase is the preservation of evidence performed? You're helping to set up a backup plan for your organization. The current plan states that all the organization's servers must have a daily backup. These backups are then saved to a local NAS device. You've been asked to recommend a method to ensure the backups will work when needed for restoration. Which of the following should you recommend? Must have a daily backup. Then say the backups will work when needed for restoration. Okay. I would go with that last one. Okay. So we talked the other night, we had a question, remember, about snapshots and backups and things like that. And so I looked into that. A VM snapshot does have kind of a record of the data, but it's not considered to actually be a backup. It's more like a restore point. I can't say exactly why, but that's what I read about it. Snapshots should not be considered to be backups. If you're taking snapshots, you should take backups of your data as well.
Yeah, I read it. It's like metadata is what it saves.
Yeah, it gives you the state of the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got it. You want to create a new mobile app and develop it in the cloud. You just signed up for a cloud-based service provider's offering to allow you to develop an app in the cloud. Which of the following is this? It's always this.
Platform.
Yep. What information should be recorded on a chain of custody form during a forensic investigation?
Any individual who worked with the evidence during the investigation.
I like that one, yes. Which of the following vulnerabilities involves leveraging access from a single VM to other machines on hypervisor?
Escape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which of the following categories would contain information about a French citizen's race or ethnic origin?
Sensitive personal information. What does SPI stand for?
Never
Is
heard
that sensitive personal information?
But I think they're just trying to get us to pick between PII.
I'm not sure. It's PII maybe. Because it doesn't have anything to do with its health, but it does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go PII.
I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
go with that as well. You're conducting threat hunting on your organization's network. Threat hunting, okay. Every workstation uses the same configuration baseline and has these parts. Windows 10 Enterprise, you know from previous experience that most of the workstations only use 40 gigs of space on the hard drives, since most users save their files on the file server. You discover one workstation that has 250 gigs of data. Which of the following is a likely hypothesis?
Yeah, C looks good to me. I don't see anything that would.
Yeah. C.
I mean, there's nothing that in there that makes it indicates that's malicious. I mean, that would be a. The host might be offline conducting backups locally.
Oh. So
I've had that happen with like DB2 databases.
I mean, I've worked with guys that just hoard their, like older guys, especially like to hoard their data. I've noticed.
Okay, I'll pick that one. My vote is this staging area for data exfiltration.
Yeah, but what would indicate that to
Well,
you?
because if he's offline, there are other things would happen. He couldn't get on the internet, for one thing. Seemed like to me. Couldn't do anything network related, really. If that's
I've had my DB2 backups not be able to back up, and it writes transactional logs locally until it can establish a backup, and it starts filling up until it fills up the whole drive.
All right.
I've had that happen.
Okay. We'll find out soon enough. Or will we? We'll probably get to the end of this thing. Let's see. A new security appliance was installed on a network as part of a managed service deployment. The vendor controls the appliance. If I had to bet between Jim and me, I would bet on Jim every time.
Yeah,
I would,
bet.
Jim. And I'm not just being humble.
I don't say anything that's malicious in that question. That's all. Okay. That's the only reason why I picked the non-malicious answer.
All right. The vendor controls the appliance and the IT team cannot log in or configure it. The IT team is concerned about the appliance receiving the necessary updates. Which of the following mitigations should be performed to minimize the concern?
Configuration management?
Sure. I'll go for that. Which command on a Mac OS or Linux system is used to change the permissions of a file?
Change permissions?
Permissions.
Chmod?
Not
Oh, permissions? Yeah.
That's it?
Chmod.
Yep.
Because change owner is changing the ownership of those files.
What regulation protects the privacy of student educational records?
FERPA.
That's FERPA, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Dion Training conducts weekly vulnerability scanning of their network and patches any identified issues within 24 hours. Which of the following best describes their risk response strategy?
Mitigation.
They are mitigating. They are not transferring. They're not ignoring. They're mitigating. Which of the following is the most important feature to consider when designing a system on a chip?
Space and power savings?
I'm sure that's big, yeah. I was leaning towards real-time OS, but space and power savings, sure. We'll put a
That's
star.
purely.
Those are definitely important in a SCADA type setup. You've recently been hired as a security analyst at Dion Training. On your first day, your supervisor begins to explain the way their network is configured, showing you the physical and logical placement of each firewall, sensor, host base, IPS, etc. What best describes how these various devices are placed into the network for the highest level of security?
Segmentation.
I think they're talking about defensive depth here.
Okay.
Yeah. Dion wants to reduce the management and administrative costs of using multiple digital certs for all their subdomains. Which of the following solutions would allow the company to use one digital cert for all of its subdomains?
Wildcard.
Right. Now, if they put SAN on here, I would have a hard time coming up with the answer because I always struggle between those two. Subject alt name is another way that you can cover more than one domain, but anyway, wildcards is the answer. You're working as part of the server team for an online retail store. Due to the upcoming holidays, your boss is worried that the current servers may not be able to handle the increased demand. Which of the following cloud computing concepts can quickly allow services to scale upward?
Elasticity.
Yes. Which operating system feature is designed to detect malware that is loaded early in the system startup process or before the OS can load itself? Ooh.
Master Boot?
I've never heard of it, but that would do that. I've never heard of advanced anti-malware, so I would go with that.
Startup.
Measured boot. I don't know.
I don't know what.
Is there like what's the term that they normally use for like protected BIOS? Something that does watch BIOS.
What's the question?
I thought there was like a normal term that they use when they have something that watches the BIOS to see if they switch, if they change.
I don't know.
Or maybe that's a little too soon for this system startup. That's what they're talking about. Yeah, secure. It's like a secure BIOS.
Okay.
So if something changes in the BIOS, it'll catch it, and that's what I was thinking. But that's
nice.
not what this question's asking. So.
No, it's not.
Is it the secure boot under the UEFI
Yeah, secure boot.
settings?
That's what
yeah.
Thank you.
Consider
No problem. It's a
bit of a log file on the host with the IP address of this. What type of activity occurred? So let us look at that, and I'll just shrink this to where we can kind of see.
A lot of port scans. Port 20, port 21, 22, all the common ones.
Targeting, yep, Tim, that makes sense. Yep. Everything else is talking about 10.10.3.6. Oh, well, there is 10.10.3.6 there, so.
Yeah, I think it's the last one, right?
Yeah, port scan seems.
For 6.
Yeah, that's targeting.
The source is from 2.
Right. That's where it's initiating, that's where it's pointing at. And yeah, that alone wouldn't create a denial of service, so that doesn't make sense. Don't even know what a fragmentation attack means. I think you're right. I think that's a port scan. And the destination should be the machine we're talking about. So. You walked up behind a pen tester in your organization and saw the following output on their Kali Linux terminal. What type of test is the pen tester currently conducting?
Looks like brute force.
Brute force, yeah.
Yeah.
Yoyodyne Systems has recently bought out its competitor Whammidyne Systems, which went out of business due to a series of data breaches. As a cybersecurity analyst for Yoyodyne, you're assessing Whammidyne's existing apps and infrastructure. During analysis, you discover this URL is used to access an application. Change the URL to end with 12346 and notice that a different user account is now displayed. Which of the following type of vulnerabilities have you discovered?
That's an XML, right? Injection?
Yep.
Because that's URL changes.
Yep. You are exactly right. Your intrusion detection system has produced an alert based on its review of a series of network packets. After analysis, it's determined that the packets didn't contain any malicious activity. How would you classify that?
False
False
positive.
positive.
Is a false positive. Got us all worried over nothing. You want to create a website for your new technical support biz. You decided to purchase an on-demand cloud-based server and install Linux, Apache, and WordPress to run your website. Which of the following best describes what type of service you just purchased? You installed everything.
Yeah, it's infrastructure as a service, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
All you did was got a piece of hardware, and then you did everything. You are attending a cybersecurity conference and just watched a security researcher demonstrating the exploitation of a web interface on a SCADA ICS component. Web interface on that component. This caused the device to malfunction and be destroyed. You recognize that the same component is used throughout your company's manufacturing plants. Which of the following mitigation strategies would provide you with the most immediate protection against this emergent threat?
So it has to be immediate, right?
Yep.
So you could block it.
Yeah.
You wanted that one? It's either that one or the one right below it.
Yeah, well, if they still have to use it, I wouldn't want to do B.
Okay.
Because you don't want to
Yeah, the
isolate
first
off
one's
the
the most immediate. Yeah, the first one's the most immediate.
That's true. Block that web app, yeah. Although it's not immediate in a sense because you're taking the time to evaluate if... I guess you don't have to take any time. You just think to yourself, do I need that? And you say no. And then you block it. Okay, that's immediate. You're developing a containment or remediation strategy to prevent the spread of an APT within your network. Your plan suggests creating a mirror of the company's databases, routing all externally sourced network traffic to it, and gradually updating with pseudo-realistic data to confuse and deceive the APT. Once the attacker has downloaded the corrupted database, your company would then conduct remediation actions on the network and restore the correct database info to the production system. Which of the following types of containment strategies does this plan utilize? Again, this must be 601 type question because we don't get isolation versus segmentation based questions in 501. But good.
Can you start?
Sure. Crash left and confuse and deceive. That part of it makes me think it's this one because they deceived the attacker into believing their attack was successful. It's not a hack back.
So they set up like a honeypot.
Yeah, it sounds like a honeypot.
Which this is probably our closest. Which of the following cryptographic algorithms is asymmetric?
I need to review these things.
Was it RCA?
RC4 is streaming, that's symmetric.
Or RC4? Oh no, it wouldn't be.
RSA is asymmetric. So AES is not.
Yeah, AES definitely not. DES is not. What's DSA? I don't know.
It must be digital signature algorithm, DSA.
Go DSA.
Yeah, let's go with that one. And digital signatures, do they use... Yeah, they use private key and public keys, so yeah. Dion Training has performed an assessment as part of their disaster recovery plan. The assessment found that the organization RAID takes about 8 hours to repair when 2 drives fail. Which of the following metrics would best represent this time period?
MTBF?
8
I
hours
see.
to... Yeah.
No, okay.
Yep.
That's the time before failure. Okay, no.
Yep. And that's not their objective. That's just how long it takes. So that is the mean time to recovery.
So just real quick, DSA is comparable to RSA. It's a competing algorithm, but it operates very similar to each other. So, and it is digital signature algorithm. So.
All right. Thanks for looking that up.
Yeah.
Ted, a file server admin, has noticed that a large number of sensitive files have been transferred from a corporate workstation to an IP address outside of the local area network. Ted looks up the IP address and determines it's in a foreign country. Ted contacts the security analyst who verifies the anti-malware is up to date, network firewall is properly configured. What type of attack must this be? Whenever they talk about this kind of stuff, up to date, properly configured.
Oh, 0 day.
Yeah.
Oh, 0 day.
You're reviewing the IDS logs and notice this entry. What type of attack is being performed?
Oh, what was it?
It's like SQL injection.
Yeah,
because it's
or back to XML again.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that 7 equals 7. It's supposed to spit a whole bunch of things back.
Because it's where is usually a SQL type query.
Okay, let's go SQL. Because we had an XML earlier, so that probably is SQL. You're analyzing the following network utilization report because you suspect one of the servers has been compromised. Based on the report, which of the following servers do you suspect has been compromised and should be investigated?
4? Probably 20.4. Because of the difference of gigage there.
Yeah, on this one, on the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go for that one, yeah. So what's that one called? DBS.
DBS server, yeah.
There we go.
Bottom.
You're conducting a code review of a program and observe the following calculation was attempted, but the result was returned as this. Based on this, what type of exploit could be created against this program?
Overflow.
Okay. What control provides the best protection against both SQL injection and cross-site scripting attacks? You've run a vulnerability scan and received the following output. CVE. Which of the following categories should this be classified as? Check with
PKI. Transfer vulnerability.
Okay.
Because they're using SSL version 3, PLS 1, which they're both deprecated.
Okay. Let's go with that. Excellent. Your organization has recently been the target of a spear phishing campaign. You've identified the website associated with the link and want to block it. Which of the following techniques would be the most effective in this situation?
URL filter.
Which of the following technologies is not a shared authentication protocol?
Facebook Connect.
Hey boy. Yeah, I mean, I saw that and I thought, no, it's definitely that. But LDAP, is that a shared authentication protocol? I don't know. I mean, in the sense that these are, LDAP doesn't.
LDAP would be.
It would. You're right. Across Linux and Windows machine servers.
Yeah, it works. I've configured it for Linux.
Cool. A supplier needs to connect several laptops to an organization's network as part of their service agreement. These laptops will be operated and maintained by the supplier. Victor, a cybersecurity analyst for the organization, is concerned that these laptops could contain some vulnerabilities that could weaken the network security posture. What can Victor do to mitigate the risk to other devices on the network without having direct administrative access to the supplier's laptops? Ooh. What's a jump box?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
It's normally referred to as a bastion host.
Yeah. So it puts those in a separate security zone, right? I think that might be our answer. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I kind of lean towards that.
Okay, let's do it. Which of the following hashing algorithms results in a 128-bit fixed output?
Yeah, but why would you knock out just scanning and patching them? Oh, someone else handles it. Yeah. Never mind.
Fool. 128-bit output. I don't know.
I'm going to say MD5.
Okay.
Just guessing here.
I'll do it.
Fixed.
Sarah is working at a startup that is focused on making secure banking apps for smartphones. Her company needs to select an asymmetric encryption algorithm to encrypt the data being used by the app. Enough said. What's the answer?
ECC.
Right. Smartphones and asymmetric.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at our 9. We did good. We passed.
Woo.
Just barely, but we passed. Let's look at our starred questions real quick. Incorrect here. Randomize one-use pad. It's not an encryption key, however, but anyway, encryption mechanism or system would be a better question. There we go. Only truly unbreakable. Right. We knew we were kind of guessing at this one. Beacon's protocol.
What the heck is that?
So the protocol is not a typical means of identifying the beacon, but apparently interval and persistence are. That kind of makes sense. Those would be sort of heuristic pieces of information or behavioral pieces of information. Aha. Cool. Good to know.
SHA-1.
160. Who cares? Full packet capture. Yay. I'm just going to leave that because I'm recording long enough to get on the recording. Continuous deployment rather than integration. Yay. Ha. There is continuous delivery.
What's the difference between the two then? Method app requires frequent testing.
Well, in this one, it doesn't sound like you're doing that testing. You're just routing that stuff right out there.
That sounds really dangerous, though.
It does. So you'd rather do continuous integration than continuous deployment. But you may not always have the choice, you know, if you're depends on what you're trying to do.
Haha, you were right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just don't know what, like I said, just what distinguishes it, because as far as I read, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
What's their
I
explanation?
see why you chose that. But that's their explanation right there. All right, space and power savings.
It's just collecting data to be sent off somewhere.
Yes. So keylogger stuff, data exfiltration stuff, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Keylogger wouldn't be very large, obviously. That's all text file stuff, so it would have to be more data. Yay!
Measured boot.
There is such a thing as measured boot.
That's a new one.
Huh. Yeah. I could write that down, measured boot.
Let's save that as a screenshot.
All right. Measured boot. And it's stored in the TPM. Huh. Oh, that master boot record analysis is for a forensic investigation. Right, we got this right. Segmentation-based containment. So a honeypot.
Yeah.
All right, let's go see what we got wrong here. We knew that was wrong. We knew that was wrong. Oh, just our starred ones? Okay. What?
Uh-oh.
How did we miss this?
Reading it too fast.
Yep. They started 2 with processor cache, and I just jumped on the first one I saw. My fault.
So wait, swap file though. I thought swap file was before.
Nah, random access memory before swap file, yeah. Because that's in volatile memory. That's actually stored on the hard drive temporarily.
Oh, okay. I know what I was thinking.
I didn't notice there were 2 that started with processor cache, otherwise I would have looked more closely. I kind of wondered if that might be it. Okay. You see, I did it again. Iris and retina. The retina is at the back of the eye. Damn it, the iris is at the front.
Yeah, what does the question say?
I outsmarted myself. It's on the eye's surface.
Yeah, your iris is the color part of your eye that opens and closes.
Isn't that on the surface?
It is on the surface, yes.
And retina's in the back?
Yeah.
Right next to the back, yeah, where it focuses the light, like the blood vessels and stuff.
Yeah.
If you read that quickly, it's usually, I've even when it's seen an iris scan.
Yeah, they're not foolproof, as this last sentence goes on to say.
Could you do the same thing with a retinal scan?
Retinal scans are much harder to fool, I believe, because is the back of your eye, and there's a lot of veins and those kind of things going on back there.
Yeah, but if you got a retinal scan of someone else and printed out a picture, put it in front of the thing.
I wonder, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens with stuff like that. Well, all right, I'll look into that. Can a retinal scan be...
Oh, wait, what did it say about diseases? I didn't read that for that middle part. Accurate, much less. Huh. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because it's on the surface, I suppose. So there's no cloudiness factor or something going on. That's my fault again. I didn't notice. I don't remember seeing that possible answer there. But that's what we were looking for, was isolating that computer. Darn it. Wait, they said that is the correct answer. Oh, gotcha. That's a better way to go than unplugging the network cable? But then you reset the username password. Let's go back and read this question. Sorry. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Who wouldn't want to just plug the All right. Fair enough. Multi-cloud is a thing. And that, even though that's public, and that's public, why wouldn't that count as public? I don't know.
Different vendors.
I guess so.
Multi.
That must be the thing. Yep, uses multiple public cloud services. Then you have to call it multi-cloud and not public. Good to know. But they are public services, for sure. What? Well, I disagree with this answer. But they said that their accounts have been compromised. That creates urgency. I pretty much disagree with that. That was SPI. We got to learn a new acronym. Sensitive personal information. Huh. Never heard of that one. Now I have. What? Oh boy. I don't see that as being a mitigation at all. Mitigation is where you take action to correct a bad situation, isn't it? Vulnerability scan is not a mitigation. Now, it's the best option maybe, but it's not mitigation. So they even say so, pretty much. I mean, it allows the team to know the risk and then where they can mitigate. It doesn't do the mitigation. All right, here's another one we missed. That was insecure direct object reference.
Oh, I didn't even see that last one.
I've never heard of that.
Well, if you look at it, yeah.
It makes sense, yeah.
It makes sense because if you look at the object, it's passing in a different object.
Yep. I do stuff like that all the time, by the way. I mean, if I see how a URL was formed and I want to jump somewhere else on that site, I will do that.
Yeah, like pictures and stuff. If you have like a sequence, a gallery or something.
All right, insecure direct object reference. Okay. Learn something new. Okay. That was not PKI transfer. That was web app crypto. And that makes sense too, based on what same thing you were saying. I mean, those are weak cryptographic protocols. They're involved in PKI, so, but maybe not transfer necessarily. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay. That was supposed to be LDAP there, not a shared authentication protocol. Yeah, see, that, even though it can be used on Linux, it's not used to pass along, I guess, authentication from one thing to another. Well, there we go. We still passed. Barely. But we passed. That's all that matters. It's like jumping over a high jump. Doesn't matter if you cleared by 1/4 inch or 5 inches. You clear it, you pass. Well, all right, everyone. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, guys.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks.